Alright, I told you last time I was going to be in another capital city, and actually I'm not. I'm in Istanbul. Now, I was under the misapprehension that this is the capital of Turkey, but it's not. Ankara is the capital. Ankara, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But yeah, I didn't know that until I arrived in the country. I won't be going to Ankara, so you're going to have to make do with Istanbul. However, Napoleon Bonaparte did say that if there were a capital of the world, this would be it. This is Taksim Square. It's one of the, you know, centre points, focal points of the city. Although I gather there are a few different city centres in different districts. So I don't know much about it. I haven't done any research as usual, and that will be reflected in the presentation. So without any further ado, let's get into Istanbul. Alright, check this out. This is Istikal Cadessi. I guess it means Istikal Road. This is Sunday night. I don't know what time it is actually. I think it's about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or something like that. But you can see it's pretty lively. To be honest, it went far off this last night, Saturday night, at about 1 AM. It looked like this. So it's all going off. If you walk down here, up and down here, obviously loads of shops and loads of little alleyways like this, and down these alleyways you're going to find bars and nightclubs. Shitloads of them as well. And if you go down the alleyways, like, they're winding and turning, and it's just around the corner there's another 10 bars, and they're all full of people, and it's really good if you know what you're doing. I ain't got a fucking clue. I've been wandering round. I went in one bar last night playing Turkish music. They were going mad in there. It was a young bar, it was a fashionable bar if you will, but the playlist weren't for me, you know. I say Turkish music, Turkish pop, you know, so it's mixing up with a bit of R&B and all that, chart hits, pretty ropey really, but good atmosphere if you're into it, you know. And those days may have gone for me, to be honest. It was like shoulder to shoulder in there. Yeah, I weren't really feeling it, but I'm pretty sure it's a good night out. Most of the nightclubs I walked past were banging out like horrible sort of house music, which I like, decent house, funky house or electro, do you know what I mean? But most of it was proper shit. One place was playing nice electro. I went to the door, he said couples only. So yeah, it's one of them, not too successful a night out. Oh, here's a big police van. It's full of fucking riot police. There's a few of them there, but a bit earlier on I walked down here, the whole street, it was like just full of riot police, all shielded up and everything. I don't know if it's some sort of training exercise or just a demonstration of the potential of power, do you know what I mean? It seems to be what you get in a lot of countries in the world. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you, we're fucking better off in the UK in that respect. We don't have the kind of overt ideological control, like, you know, or physical control I should say, that very many of the other countries in the world have, but all the same we're getting there. But anyway, you don't want to hear about that shit, you want to look at all this, don't you? The street's 3 kilometres long apparently, so surely something for everyone somewhere. Right, can you hear this cacophony? I suppose the locals like it. Look at what he's playing though. Did you see that? It was still like the whole animal. I want to get something to eat. I saw a banging place around here last night. Looks fantastic. I'll just show you. This is the end of the street, right? What did I call it? Istikal, I think it's called. Obviously, you know, you come out your nightclubs, bars, whatever, 5 AM, it's beer o'clock, isn't it? beer o'clock. What am I talking about? Time to eat food. Anyway, traditionally, you know, most places they'd have a 24-hour McDonald's or Burger King or something. They ain't got that here. McDonald's and Burger King are closed at that point, but all the kebab shops are still open. So, you know, much the same as we would in the UK, everyone piles out and has a kebab. Taksim Square at this end of the street, right? And this is a row of particularly attractive little kebab shops. Now, I've not had a doner yet. Well, I suppose it was a chicken doner I had last night, I suppose. But there it is. Absolute beasts. And these little hamburgers in there. £3 ago. Had that last night. It was alright actually. I'm going to have a doner before I leave for sure. But you know, come 5 AM, there'll be the busiest places in town. This one was also open at 5 AM, but I didn't really fancy having a full sit-down meal, you know. Just wanted something I could carry back to the hotel and fall into bed with. But this place looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? You see all that stuff there? See these lamb shanks here? I'm gonna fucking have one of them. Look at everything they got though. Chips and chicken steaks, baked beans. Brussels sprouts. Who knew they were popular? Yeah, this is the Indonesian in me, I think. I just love the sight of all the food laid out in metal trays like that. For some of you, it would be very off-putting. For me, it's extremely attractive. So I'm going to give it the old point and see where I get. Right, that looks fucking amazing. Lamb shank and rice. I would say that's similar to the old kaleftiko, what the Greek have. Don't know what they call it here, but I imagine it's the same thing. The proof will be in the pulling, because if that falls off the bone, that is exactly what I want. And this one is spinach and egg. Bit of bread, bit of water. Come to 46 lira. If my calculations are correct, I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. You know that song's about masturbation? Anyway, if my calculations are correct, that is actually about £11. So, like £11, you know, 12, 13, 14 euros, something like that. So actually, I don't think this country is cheap. I had a couple of meals down in Sea-Day and I put it down to being a tourist resort that I paid about 20 euros ago. But yeah, I don't think this country is that cheap. But anyway, I'm really not a good judge of that sort of thing anymore because I'm just so confused by all the different countries and currencies I've been dealing with. But anyway, it's all about the eating, isn't it? And let's have a look at that. Yeah, I mean, that is peeling away quite easily, isn't it? Not as easily as I would like, to be fair. Let's have a taste of that. Well, it's been out all day. It's not like the kaleftiko, it's not as tender. Maybe when it was freshly cooked it would have been, but let's have a go on that. That's very nice. It's got some sort of cheese in it, maybe a bit of feta cheese or something. Oh, we're seeing the egg. See the egg burst open now? Oh, I like that. Let's have that with a bit of rice. It's good eating. It's not the best, but it's good. Look, I've got to be fair. Look at the amount of meat on that. That is a fearsome bite. You know, to be fair, and bearing in mind this is like, I don't know, maybe equivalent to Oxford Street, right? If you had a big chunk of lamb like that on Oxford Street, with side dish like that, you'd probably be looking at about £20, wouldn't you? So I can't call it expensive, but it's just not as cheap as most other countries I've been to. And that includes Spain, I think, you know, so Bear in mind that'd be £1 in London, do you know what I mean? So, not bad at all. That little beauty there is going in a bit of bread, because that is how I roll. Alright, I will recommend that place. I was a bit harsh on my first assessment, but every mouthful of that spinach and cheese thing got more and more delicious, and every mouthful of that lamb got more and more delicious as well. Just like fatty goodness, man, and creamy with the spinach, man. Fucking really nice. That kid is literally, can you see what those kids are doing? Hanging onto the back of the tram and just letting go and rolling off. Anyway, back to the food. Yeah, better and better with every bite. And to be fair, it could have fed 2 people. Do you know what I mean? What I had, no problem. I struggled to finish that big time. So, yeah, thumbs up, basically. You know, and as well, I was saying about it wasn't that cheap, but like sometimes I can make a bit of a fatal mistake. In the same way as like it's fatal to compare prices to London, right? Because if you compare prices to London, then everything in the world is cheap, right? So, because London's so extortionate. So don't even bother comparing prices to London, you know what I mean? Did I just say pairing com? Fucking, my brain's getting fucked up, man. Yeah, anyway, don't bother comparing prices to London, yeah, because then everything's cheap. But also, by the same time, it's not really good to compare prices to, say, Jakarta, you know what I mean? It seems expensive compared to that, but, you know, that piece of meat, you would never ever get a piece of meat like that in Jakarta, would you? You'd get one small little chunk of beef, you know, for a rendang, for example. That is the most expensive thing you can get in a Padang restaurant, and that is gonna, you know, if you had enough pieces of rendang to make a chunk of meat like that lamb shank, it would also mount up. So, in retrospect, not overly expensive and pretty delicious and a decent meal. Right, you see a lot of these little things in the street. He's got the fruit there, he's got the juice machine there. Marhaba. One. Okay, it's the old pomegranates. I've never been a fan, but I tell you what, in juice form, it is quite nice.
Biliyor musun kapamasını?
4 for the small one, okay, thank you.
Sorry,
I don't know how to ask. Yeah. I just thought it's got to be less than that, so I see what he gives me back, you know?
No, he has 2 prices for a small one, a big one.
Okay.
Not a big difference.
Right. Yeah, teşekkür. Right, there you go. Look at that beauty. Pure pomegranate juice, fresh from the fruit. Sharp. It's like cranberry juice. Very good for the immune system, I would imagine. Is that Loyalist coffee? One for Paul Breakwell, or did it say Royalist? One for Ollie D then. Right, have you ever seen that before? Probably, if you're Turkish, you have. But I don't know if they do it anywhere else. Coca-Cola in a green can. Presumably it's to represent the skin of the reptile as a, you know, sort of acknowledgement to the master race. I can't think of any other logical reason, do you know what I mean?